Hi everyone, this is my reinforcement and motivation video. My case study child's coded name is Jay. He's 4 years old and diagnosed with ASD. Jay loves trains and really enjoys talking about the Thomas and Friends trains. Often he'll just run up to a classmate and sort of frantically jump into talking about trains, saying Thomas this and Percy that, which can be off-putting to his peers. One of my goals is for Jay to ask a question before immediately talking about his interests. So something like, do you like trains? And then talking about trains, not necessarily a whole separate conversation. Just to kind of offset the perseveration that usually happens when trains get introduced. And usually happens when he even starts a conversation. He really wants to talk about trains, and I don't want to suppress that. I just kind of want to harness it and allow him to talk about trains, but in a more socially appropriate way. So Jay really loves singing, and he loves singing with people. So I thought that it was a great way to incorporate singing was to make it a reinforcement. So essentially, what I want to reinforce is the question asking in the beginning. So what he'll say is, hi, blank, say the name is Emma. Hi, Emma, can I teach you a song about trains? And almost always the answer is going to be yes, because therefore, who doesn't want to learn a song? And his aide or whoever's with him, me, whoever, can kind of direct him towards the children that are more likely to say yes for the first few times, just so he can kind of get his footing with initiating a conversation. So then from there, he'll be able to sing a song. And we've actually made up a few songs about trains that kind of we treat as social stories, I suppose, talking about Thomas and like whatever socially appropriate behavior it may be. But he could make up a song that he wanted to teach them. It would be absolutely anything he wanted to do. He loves making up songs. He's very verbal when it comes to singing about trains. He'll make things up to different tunes. And we can kind of help him piece it together to make it sound like a cohesive song that another child would actually really want to learn about. So just being able to sing the song with a peer will, I think, really reinforce him to start a conversation again rather than just this one time. Once he realizes the reward of it, he'll be more willing to come up to another peer and say, hi, can I teach you about trains? Of course, this is going to need to be like probed by an aide, rather than he's not just going to be able to recall exactly the conversation. He needs to be prompted. So once he is prompted, I think that it'll kind of allow him to want to do it again and show interest in that. This is a really small step towards an actual conversation, but I think it's a pretty big step in initiating the conversation, which is something we really need to work on, and it's the result I hope to see from this intervention. I don't think this is a band-aid at all because it's a step towards finding ways to break down Jay's trouble when it comes to social interactions. This intervention doesn't have to happen during any specific time, just during free play when he's looking for something to do. So of course he'll just be prompted when whoever is with him thinks that it would be a beneficial time for him to jump into a conversation with a peer. I only made 3 goals for Jay, so the next reinforcement intervention is not for one of my goals. He already has a system in place for bathroom use, but it's not really effective. He gets to have dessert after dinner if he doesn't have any accidents at school all day. However, he rarely gets this reward. He has accidents sort of frequently, I would say a couple of times a week. So while he's at school, I think it would be really great to incorporate a reward system for each time he uses the bathroom. So it's a positive reward system rather than, and it's more immediate rather than having to wait an entire day, which is a lot of waiting for a 4-year-old boy. So he always has somebody with him, so that person can have this little reward chart that I made with them. And every time he uses the bathroom, he can just pick one of these things. Playing 2 minutes with trains, I just kind of mentioned how much he loves trains. Talking to Ollie, who is their class fish. Singing, there's 2 different singing songs. One is and then 2 of them are sensory. So spinning on a spinner and popping bubble wrap. These are things that he doesn't do often at school because he really tends to withdraw when he's just, for instance, playing with trains, going on the spinner, talking to the class fish, or popping bubble wrap. The singing is definitely more of a social interaction because he'll be singing with an adult, but I think it'll definitely still be reinforcing for him because he absolutely loves those songs. He loves the counting, he loves the animals, he loves everything about them. So all of those take less than 2 minutes each. The longest one is playing with trains for 2 minutes. So it's not that it's going to really get in the way of any of his other interventions. It'll more just be embedded in his routine. And reducing the number of accidents that he has is going to give him actually more time than this is going to take away, because he can be spending that time rather than being changed and feeling upset because of that. He can be engaging in social interactions or focusing on other goals. So Linda and Ashley B were in my group for this section of our project, the reinforcement and motivation interventions. And basically we described our case study children to one another and the goals we'd set out for them. And we made suggestions to each intervention and commented about what we liked. For the reinforcement song intervention, Linda suggested to me that if it doesn't work, I could kind of incorporate the question into the song, into the beginning of the song. So he would say, "Hi, blank, can I teach you a song about trains?" actually as part of the song, which I thought was a really, really neat idea if this doesn't work out the way I had anticipated. So my group members did have a few questions about the bathroom reward system, like does he get one every time he uses the bathroom, and stuff like that. And we kind of just talked about it, but it's a really straightforward system, so we didn't. Neither my group members really suggested any adjustments. We also talked about Linda's case study, who is 20 years old and loves art. Obviously, I'm just going to leave the specifics for her video, but she found a great way to incorporate his interest as well, and kind of pair it with a way of becoming more aware of his classmates through portrait drawing. And she'll also be using a token system. Ashley's case study loves anatomy, so instead of a token system as a reinforcer, she's going to use a skeleton as a token board. So she'll allow him to earn bones through various activities, and he'll get a reward when he assembles the whole skeleton. And of course, I'm not going to go too much into it, but she did ask for what we discussed. But I think that the group format was helpful for this assignment because there was collaboration. We could bounce ideas off of each other and kind of just get a feel for if someone else thought this would work with our case study when we described who they were, what they liked, all that kind of thing. And that's it. Thanks for watching my video.